All right, let's dive in. Today, we're exploring the world of LARPing, but with a focus on something, well, pretty fundamental to the whole experience.
Trust.
You got it. Trust. We're going deep on why it's so crucial, how it shapes the game, and what we can all do to build it up. Our guide for this adventure.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
A really insightful blog post called The Great Trust Adventure. It's from LARPcast, that blog all about LARPing.
Yes, I've read a few of their pieces. Always insightful. So, what struck you most about this great trust adventure?
Well, they made this comparison that I thought was spot on. They talk about trust as being like, well, enchanted armor for LARPers.
Okay, I'm listening. Enchanted armor, huh? I like that.
Right. Instead of protecting you from, actual blows, it protects you from that feeling of being cheated, like manipulated by the game itself.
That makes a lot of sense. When you trust the GMs, the other players, the whole system, you can really dive in.
Totally. And the blog even uses this image of players diving in with the gusto of a dragon hoarding gold.
Haha, love it.
Right. It really captures that sense of freedom and commitment you get when you trust the game. You're not holding back, you're all in.
But on the flip side, the blog also warns about what happens when that trust breaks down. It can turn into, like, a PvP nightmare.
Oh, yeah. They actually call it player versus plot.
Exactly. You're not just playing the game anymore, you're fighting against it. Every twist and turn feels suspicious, like the game itself is out to get you.
Ugh, that sounds awful. Like you're stuck in a dungeon where the walls keep shifting and you can't tell friend from foe.
And that brings us to another major trust buster that the blog tackles head-on: favoritism.
Oh, yeah. They had some strong words about that, didn't they?
Definitely. They called it the dark forest, where many a LRP has lost its way. It's evocative, right?
Oh, for sure. You get that sense of danger, of being lost and unsure who to trust.
It's like you're wandering through the story and suddenly you realize, wait a minute, some people seem to be getting preferential treatment here. Like they've got a map and I'm stumbling around in the dark.
It undermines the whole experience. It makes you question if it even matters what you do.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought the blog's analogy for this was really powerful. They said it's like everyone paid for passage on the same adventure ship.
Right. But some folks are getting the first-class treatment, while others are stuck down in the bilge.
Precisely. And that's just not right. Every player deserves to feel like their actions have meaning, like they have a chance to contribute and shine.
No matter what their character's status is or how much experience they have, right? Everyone deserves a fair shot.
100%. And that's where the role of the game master becomes absolutely critical.
And the blog had some fascinating advice for GMs on how to build trust, starting with this idea of being a listening lore keeper.
Oh, yeah, I loved that image. Like a wise old owl perched up high, watching over the game, listening to the players, weaving their feedback into the story as it unfolds.
It sounds so cool.
Yeah,
So much more engaging than just, like, dictating the plot from on high.
for sure. It's about being attuned to the players' desires, incorporating their ideas, making them feel like they're a part of shaping the world.
And that brings us to another awesome bit of advice from the blog, which is about embracing what they call the flexible fable.
I see where you're going with this.
Right. Game masters need to be adaptable, roll with the punches, be open to unexpected player choices, let the story emerge organically.
Absolutely. That's where things get really exciting. Imagine an LRP where the player's actions genuinely have an impact, where the narrative twists and turns based on the choices they make.
It's like those choose-your-own-adventure books we all loved as kids. You're not just following a rigid script, you're actually part of creating the story.
Exactly. But to make that work, there has to be a lot of trust on both sides.
Oh, totally. Players need to trust that the GMs will respect their choices and weave them into the story.
And the GMs need to trust that the players won't abuse that freedom and will make choices that are, in the spirit of the game.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance to strike. But when it works,
Oh, it's magical. That shared ownership over the story, that feeling of truly collaborating to create something unique. That's what makes LARPing so special.
but to get to that point, to build that kind of trust, I think transparency is absolutely key. And the blog has this really cool analogy for that. They compare it to the Palantir, that magical seeing stone from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah. I see the connection.
Right, it's about being upfront, laying all the cards on the table. Clear rules, open communication, no hidden agendas or surprises that make people feel cheated.
It's about knowing where you stand, what the rules of the game are, and what you can expect. No nasty surprises lurking around the corner.
And just as important as having clear rules is making sure those rules are applied fairly and consistently, right?
Absolutely. It's like a just king ruling his realm.
Right.
Everyone knows what the laws are and that they will be enforced fairly no matter who you are.
Consistency builds trust. If one player gets a second chance, everyone should. If a certain action is rewarded in one instance, it should be rewarded every time.
Right. It creates an even playing field where everyone feels like they have a fair shot. And that, in turn, reinforces that sense of trust, allowing players to just relax and enjoy the game without constantly worrying about, hidden agendas or favoritism.
And now I'm dying to hear what the blog had to say about achievement systems and NPCs. Those seem like crucial elements in building a truly immersive LARP.
Oh, they definitely are. And there's a lot to unpack there. But let's save those fascinating topics for our next segment.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Now, where were we? Yes, trust in LRP. It's fascinating how those principles of transparency and consistency, they really show up in the actual game design.
Oh, absolutely.
The blog post we're looking at, The Great Trust Adventure, it talks a lot about the importance of having a clear achievement system.
Right. So players know what they're working towards, how their actions actually move them forward in the game.
Exactly. It's like having a quest log, right?
Yeah.
Clearly laid out objectives, the rewards you get for completing them.
Gives you a sense of purpose. You're not just wandering around aimlessly.
Exactly. Players understand how their actions contribute to their progress, and they're more likely to be invested, to really participate. It fosters a sense of agency.
It's not just about, racking up experience points or collecting loot, though.
Oh, definitely not. The challenges should be meaningful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that actually tests your skills, makes you think creatively, forces you to work together with other players.
Right. The rewards should feel earned, like, a badge of honor, something that reflects your accomplishments, what you contributed to this story.
And that feeling, that sense of accomplishment, I bet it's even stronger when you achieve it as part of a community that's built on trust.
Oh, absolutely. Like reaching the summit of a mountain together, You supported each other every step of the way.
It's powerful stuff. That shared sense of accomplishment really brings people together, strengthens the community as a whole.
For sure. And speaking of community, we got to talk about the role of NPCs in all this. Building trust.
Yes, the NPCs.
Yeah.
The essential part of any LARP.
Absolutely. And the blog really emphasizes that they shouldn't just be treated as background characters or, mindless enemies.
I mean, who wants to just be whacking foam swords at cardboard cutouts all day?
Exactly. NPCs can be so much more than that.
Right. They can be mentors, rivals, allies, even just sources of comic relief, right?
They add depth, complexity, make the world feel more real, more alive.
I always love it when an NPC remembers something my character did in previous game, or reacts to my choices in a way that feels genuine, like they have a history.
Oh, it's so immersive. Makes you feel like you're really a part of that world.
And when players trust that the NPCs are there to enhance the game, not to, throw a wrench in the works or play favorites.
It opens up a world of possibilities. So much potential for interesting interactions and unexpected storylines.
Right. It goes back to that idea of co-creation, right?
Yeah. Exactly. It's not just the GMs telling the story. The players, through their interactions with NPCs and the choices they make, they become active participants in shaping the narrative.
And that's where the real magic happens, I think. When LARPing becomes less about following a script and more about this, dynamic, interactive storytelling experience.
Absolutely. When players feel empowered, like they can really contribute to the world around them, it creates a sense of ownership, of belonging that's incredibly powerful.
But we've focused a lot on the GMs, the mechanics of the game itself. What about the players themselves?
Oh, yeah. What role do they play in all this? Building a culture of trust.
Right. I mean, it can't all be on the GMs, can it?
Definitely not. It's a collaborative effort, as the blog points out. Players have a huge impact on shaping the community's culture. Think of it like building a cathedral.
A cathedral. Okay, I'm listening.
The GMs, they lay the foundation. But it's the players with their individual talents and cash-ins. They're the ones who actually construct the soaring arches, the intricate stained glass windows, all the details that make it truly breathtaking.
Wow, I love that analogy. It really captures the spirit of collaboration that's at the heart of LARPing. So if we think of players as these skilled artisans, what are the tools they can use to build a culture of trust?
Well, the blog highlights 3 key principles: communication, respect, and accountability.
Simple concepts, but I bet they go a long way in a LARP setting.
Oh, absolutely. But let's delve into those a bit more after a quick break. We'll be back to explore how players can build a high-trust LRP community.
And we're back, ready to finish our deep dive into trust in LARPing. We've covered how important game masters are in setting the stage, but like the LARPcast blog reminds us, players play a big role too, right?
For sure. They really do. It's a team effort.
Totally. So, to use the blog's cathedral analogy, if the GMs lay the foundation, the players are the ones actually building the arches, putting in the stained glass windows, making it all come together.
Exactly. And those three principles we touched on before the break, those are the tools they use: communication, respect, and accountability.
Yeah, simple ideas, but so powerful when you actually put them into practice. So let's break them down. First up, communication. We all know it's important, but what does that actually look like in a LARP setting?
I think it starts with being upfront about what you want out of the game. What kind of experience are you looking for? What are your boundaries? What are you hoping to bring to the table? Sharing that stuff openly with the GMs, with other players, helps set everyone on the same page from the start.
Right, like establishing the ground rules for the whole collaboration.
Exactly. But it's not just about stating your expectations. Active listening is crucial. Really hearing what others are saying, even if you don't agree with them. Asking questions to make sure you understand their point of view. Having a real conversation, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
And sometimes that means having some tough conversations, right? Like when conflicts come up.
Oh yeah, sometimes it does. But trying to avoid conflict altogether, that can actually make things worse. Erosion of trust can happen if stuff is just swept under the rug.
So you're saying it's better to address things head on.
If it's done respectfully, yeah. With a genuine desire to find a solution, that shows you're committed to maintaining a healthy community.
Makes sense. So that's communication. What about respect? That feels
Yeah.
like a pretty fundamental element of any relationship, really.
Absolutely. And in LR painting, it shows up in lots of ways. It's about valuing every player's contributions, recognizing what makes them unique, making sure everyone feels comfortable expressing themselves, taking risks, really being present in the game, treating each other with kindness and consideration, whether you're in character or not.
It's more than just being polite then. It's about creating a space where everyone feels safe.
Exactly. And it also extends to respecting the game itself, the rules, the setting, the lore, all that stuff. Playing fair, not trying to game the system, that shows respect for the shared experience you're all working to create.
And I imagine that also means being mindful of how your actions impact other players, the overall story.
Oh, yeah, totally. You're not just playing for yourself, you're part of this collective. Your choices, they have consequences.
All right, last one. Accountability.
Mm.
Kind of goes hand in hand with respect, right?
It does. And it starts with owning your mistakes. We all mess up sometimes, especially in LARPing. Things move fast, you're improvising. But instead of making excuses, a player who's really accountable, they own up to their errors, apologize if necessary, and most importantly, learn from it.
Take responsibility for your actions. Understand that they affect other people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about holding yourself accountable. Sometimes it means, gently holding others accountable too.
Not like being the LRRP police, though.
Right. No, no, no. It's more about offering constructive feedback, reminding each other of the rules, supporting each other in creating a positive game environment.
So accountability done well can actually strengthen trust.
Absolutely. It shows you're all committed to upholding the community's values, creating a space where everyone can relax and get fully immersed in the game.
Okay, so wrapping all this up, building that culture of trust in LRRPing, it's a two-way street.
It is. You need GMs who are transparent and fair, and players who are open, respectful, and accountable for their actions.
And when all those pieces come together,
Magic. You get players who are willing to take risks, try new things, really contribute their talents to the story. It becomes less about winning or losing and more about just the pure joy of creating something together.
and that, my friends, is what it's all about. Trust. The foundation of amazing friendships, incredible stories, and the heart of what makes LRPing so special.
So true. So as you head off to your next LRP adventure, remember what we've talked about today. Keep those lines of communication open, show respect to each other and to the game, and hold yourselves accountable. And most importantly, trust in the power of collaboration.
And if you're looking for more awesome insights into LARPing, check out LARPcast. That's where we found the inspiration for this deep dive.
It's a great resource.
And that's it for us. Until next time, keep your imagination sharp, your hearts open, and your trust in each other strong. Happy LARPing.